We all know it, yet we rarely live as if we truly understand it. We will die. This simple truth, Memento Mori, isn't meant to frighten us, but to awaken us, to sharpen our senses and bring us fully into the present moment, where life actually happens. The Stoics believed that by constantly remembering our mortality, we break free from distraction, fear, and trivial worries. We stop postponing our lives and start living with clarity and urgency. This isn't morbid obsession, it's radical presence. It's the understanding that every breath, every choice, every heartbeat is a gift, limited and precious, and that the more we honor that, the richer our lives become. In this episode, we'll explore how remembering death can become the greatest motivator to live well, love deeply, and act intentionally, because the only certainty we have is that our time here is fleeting. 1. Mortality sharpens presence. There is a profound clarity that arises when we truly acknowledge our mortality. The Stoics called this practice Memento Mori, a reminder that death is inevitable. It's not meant to be a source of despair, but a tool for awakening. For most people, the concept of death remains distant and abstract, something to be feared or avoided. But for the Stoics, keeping death in mind was a way to sharpen their focus, intensify their experience of life, and root themselves firmly in the present moment. When you internalize the truth that your time here is limited, it changes everything. The trivial anxieties and petty distractions that once consumed you suddenly seem insignificant. The endless worries about things beyond your control fade away. What remains is a heightened awareness of the here and now. Every breath, every glance, every conversation becomes imbued with urgency and meaning. Your senses sharpen, your emotions deepen, and your appreciation for the simple beauty of existence grows. Imagine waking up each day knowing that it could be your last. That awareness doesn't make life terrifying. It makes it urgent, precious, and alive. The Stoics believed that living with the constant reminder of death was the ultimate motivator to live with purpose. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, urged himself to live as if each day were his last, not postponing goodness or action. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. This is not a call to despair, but to presence. Mortality compels us to be fully here, now, because the future is uncertain and the past cannot be changed. It strips away the illusion of endless tomorrows and forces us to recognize that what we do with this moment is all we truly have. In this light, mortality becomes a lens through which every experience is magnified. The laughter of a loved one becomes more precious, the taste of food more vivid, the sensation of warmth on your skin more intimate. Even moments of pain or hardship carry a deeper meaning, reminding you that life itself is fragile and fleeting. Yet embracing mortality is not just about appreciating the present, it's also about confronting what we often avoid, the reality of death itself. The Stoics taught that fearing death only diminishes the quality of life. Instead, by facing death head-on, we free ourselves from its shadow. Death ceases to be an enemy and becomes a teacher, a reminder to live authentically and courageously. This confrontation with mortality also dissolves the false importance we place on social status, material wealth, and trivial conflicts. When you remember that you and everyone around you will one day cease to be, petty grievances lose their power. Priorities shift. You begin to invest your time and energy in what truly matters: love, virtue, kindness, and meaning. So, how can you practice this awareness in daily life? Begin by setting aside moments to reflect on your mortality, not to dwell in fear, but to cultivate gratitude and focus. Remind yourself regularly that life is finite and that every day is an opportunity to live well. Let this reminder guide your choices, your words, your actions. Next time you find yourself caught up in distractions or anxieties, pause and ask, if today were my last, what would I do differently? This question can recalibrate your perspective and bring you back to presence. It helps you shed what is unnecessary and embrace what is essential. Remember, mortality is not a limit. It is the ultimate liberation. It frees you from illusions of permanence and compels you to live with urgency, clarity, and purpose. To remember you will die is to remember to truly live. 2. Death gives life urgency. There is a unique urgency that death imparts to life, a sharpness that cuts through complacency and awakens the soul. The Stoics called this awareness a fundamental part of living fully. To know that death is coming, not someday in a vague future, but one day, inevitably, transforms the way we hold time, decisions, and every breath. Without the reminder of mortality, life easily becomes a slow fade into distraction. Days blend into weeks, years into decades, and before you realize it, a lifetime passes without true engagement. The illusion of infinite tomorrows seduces us into procrastination, hesitation, and deferred dreams. We delay love, growth, and purpose, thinking there is always more time. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor who faced death daily, reflected often on the urgency death creates. He wrote that life should not be measured by length, but by virtue and presence. His reminder wasn't to instill fear, but to inspire focus, to live as if each day could be your last, with full intention and clear priorities. Urgency born from mortality is not frantic panic. It's not rushing or anxiety. It's a calm, focused fire that drives you to shed the unnecessary. It compels you to say no to trivial worries that drain your energy, and yes, to meaningful actions that nourish your soul. It's the difference between existing and truly living. Consider how death reorders your values. Suddenly, the petty conflicts, the social games, and the endless distractions lose their grip. What remains are genuine connections, authentic experiences, and purposeful work. The Stoics taught that by constantly reminding themselves of death, they maintained a perspective that prized what truly mattered. This urgency encourages us to take risks, to speak truths, to express love, to pursue passions, even when the outcome is uncertain. It frees us from the paralysis of perfectionism and the fear of failure. It teaches that the greatest failure is not death, but an unlived life. Yet the Stoics also warned against allowing this urgency to become overwhelming. Fear of death can spiral into despair or reckless behavior. True wisdom lies in balancing the awareness of death with the serenity to accept what we cannot change and the courage to act where we can. This balance is the art of living fully, embracing death's certainty without surrendering to its fear, living with urgency but with calm, acting with purpose but with patience. When you carry this awareness daily, you learn to treasure time as your most precious asset. You begin to live more intentionally, prioritizing moments over minutes, quality over quantity, depth over distraction. It also transforms relationships. Knowing that time is limited softens grievances and deepens gratitude. It inspires presence with loved ones, kindness towards strangers, and forgiveness for imperfections, both in others and in yourself. To live with the urgency that death brings is to awaken each morning with a renewed commitment, to move through your day with mindfulness of the fleeting nature of life, to stop waiting for the right moment, because the only right moment is now. Let this urgency be your compass. Let it guide your decisions, fuel your creativity, and deepen your love. Remember, life's brevity is not a curse, it's a gift, and the most profound way to honor that gift is to live fully, fiercely, and with open eyes. 3. Don't postpone living. There is a quiet tragedy in postponement. It's the slow theft of life, one delayed moment at a time. We tell ourselves that we will live fully someday, after we achieve this goal, after this problem is solved, after we find the right time or the right mood. But the truth the Stoics remind us of is brutally simple, that someday may never come. Life does not wait. The ancient practice of Memento Mori is not a morbid fascination with death. It is a call to urgency, to wakefulness, to presence. When you truly understand that your time is limited, the temptation to postpone evaporates. You begin to see that every moment counts, that every breath is an opportunity to live, to act, to love, to create. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this. He urged himself to act with immediacy, to begin at once to live. His meditations were reminders that life is short, that every day may be his last, and that to delay living is to waste the gift he was given. He wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." But postponement is insidious. It creeps into our daily lives disguised as practicality or patience. We believe that waiting will prepare us better, or that circumstances will become favorable. Yet most of the time, these are illusions, disguises for fear, for hesitation, for avoidance. The Stoics saw this clearly. They warned against the soft life that shrinks from challenge and chooses comfort over growth. To postpone living is to rob yourself of the richness of experience. It's to deny yourself the fullness of joy, the depth of connection, the clarity of purpose that comes from engaging fully with the present. It is to build walls around yourself out of fear of the unknown, of failure, of discomfort. But life is uncomfortable. Life is unpredictable. And the only way to truly live is to lean into that discomfort, to embrace uncertainty, and to act, even when you don't feel ready. This doesn't mean reckless impulsiveness. The Stoics valued wisdom and preparation, but they also understood that waiting for perfect conditions is a trap, because conditions are never perfect. There will always be obstacles, doubts, fears. Waiting for their absence is waiting for life to stop. Instead, the Stoic embraces action with acceptance, to do what you can, where you are, with what you have, to engage deeply in the present moment, not as a rehearsal, but as the real performance. Practically, this means identifying areas where you've been delaying. Perhaps it's a project you've been putting off, a conversation you fear, a dream you hesitate to pursue. The Stoic asks, "What is stopping me?" Often the answer is fear dressed in many costumes, fear of failure, of rejection, of discomfort. Memento Mori teaches that these fears are temporary, but life is fleeting. It calls you to move beyond hesitation and into deliberate action, to live not as a spectator, but as a participant, to say yes to the fullness of your existence before the curtain falls. Living fully also means embracing impermanence, the understanding that nothing lasts forever. This awareness deepens gratitude and shifts focus to what truly matters. It encourages you to savor moments, to cherish relationships, and to let go of trivial worries. So, reject the illusion of postponement. Honor your mortality by living now. Be present. Be bold, be intentional, because the most precious thing you have is this very moment, and to postpone it is to postpone life itself. 4. Let go of petty worries. In the vastness of life, so many of our worries shrink into insignificance when viewed through the lens of mortality. The Stoics taught us to differentiate between what truly matters and what merely distracts us with noise and anxiety. To cling to petty worries is to carry unnecessary weight that pulls us down, clouds our judgment, and steals our peace. Every day, our minds are bombarded with trivial concerns, the fleeting judgments of others, the fear of failure, the endless what-ifs about the future, and regrets over things long past. These worries swirl endlessly, creating storms in our minds, but often they are just illusions, shadows cast by fear, habit, or the desire for control. Marcus Aurelius reflected deeply on this, reminding himself that external events themselves are neither good nor bad. It is our judgments about them that cause us distress. He said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This insight empowers us to take back control, not over the world, but over our minds. Letting go of petty worries means freeing yourself from the tyranny of trivial fears. It means consciously deciding where to place your attention. Rather than being dragged by every passing worry, you begin to recognize which concerns deserve your energy and which are distractions. This is not to say that serious challenges should be ignored. The Stoics were not advocates of denial, but of discernment. They urged us to face life's difficulties with courage while releasing ourselves from needless anxiety over things beyond our control. Daily practice is required to cultivate this detachment. Notice when your mind fixates on minor worries. Question their reality. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Will it matter at all? Am I giving energy to something outside my control? These questions create space between the worry and your reaction, a space where freedom can grow. When you release petty worries, your mind becomes clearer, your heart lighter. You conserve your energy for what truly deserves it. Your values, your relationships, your purpose. You build resilience not by avoiding hardship, but by refusing to be overwhelmed by insignificant distractions. Moreover, this practice aligns perfectly with nature's rational order, a core principle of Stoicism. Nature moves in cycles of growth and decay, light and shadow, and so must we learn to flow with life's rhythms, not resist them. So today, as you encounter your inner noise, remember, freedom begins the moment you stop feeding the petty fears that cloud your vision. Choose to release what you cannot change and invest in what elevates your spirit. In doing so, you step closer to the Stoic ideal, a life lived with peace, clarity, and unwavering focus. 5. Live with intention now. Living intentionally is the antidote to the aimless drift that so many fall into, caught between distractions and routines that consume time without meaning. The Stoics urged us not to sleepwalk through life, but to live deliberately, with purpose rooted firmly in the present moment. To live with intention means to wake each day aware of your power to choose, to act, and to shape your destiny. When you live intentionally, you refuse to be a passive passenger in your own life. You recognize that every thought, word, and action is a building block of your character and your legacy. You cease postponing what matters, stop chasing empty pleasures, and start focusing on what aligns with your deepest values. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the importance of intention. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1. This is a call to action, a reminder that intentions are only as real as the choices we make to bring them into being. Intentional living requires clarity. It asks you to define what matters most, what virtues you want to cultivate, what relationships to nurture, what work to pursue, and to bring those priorities forward in every moment. Without intention, life becomes reactionary, scattered, and fragmented. But living with intention is not rigid or joyless. It is flexible and adaptive because life is unpredictable. It's about setting a compass, not a fixed path. It means returning to your values as a guide when distractions pull you away. Practically, intention is cultivated through mindfulness and reflection. Begin each day with a quiet moment to set your focus. Ask yourself, what is my purpose today? How do I want to show up? Let this guide your choices, big and small. Revisit your intentions regularly to ensure your actions remain aligned. Intentional living also means embracing presence. The Stoics believed that the present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Your power lies in how you engage with now. By committing fully to the present, you unlock depth, meaning, and fulfillment. When you live intentionally, you cultivate resilience. Challenges become opportunities to practice virtues like patience, courage, and wisdom. Setbacks don't derail you, they refine you. You learn to navigate life's unpredictability with grace because your intention anchors you amidst the chaos. Moreover, intention sharpens gratitude. When you choose to live deliberately, you become aware of life's fleeting nature and its precious gifts. You savor moments that others overlook. You deepen your appreciation for people and experiences, and you find joy in authenticity. Living with intention is a lifelong practice, but it transforms how you experience existence. It moves you from drifting through days to creating a meaningful journey. So today, pause and ask yourself, am I living with intention, or am I letting life live me? This simple question can be the doorway to a richer, fuller life, one that honors the truth of Memento Mori and the power of choice. 6. Appreciate the impermanent. The essence of life is impermanence. Everything that exists is in a constant state of flux, changing, evolving, fading, and eventually passing away. The Stoics deeply understood this truth, embracing the transitory nature of existence, not with fear, but with gratitude and clarity. They believed that by truly appreciating impermanence, we free ourselves from attachment, suffering, and illusion. To grasp impermanence is to see the world through a different lens. The trees shedding their leaves, the sun rising and setting, the seasons cycling endlessly. These natural rhythms remind us that permanence is a myth. Our lives, our joys, our sorrows, and even our very selves are temporary. And this understanding invites a radical shift, to cherish every moment as if it were unique and irreplaceable. When you live with this awareness, the trivial concerns that often occupy your mind, fears about the future, regrets about the past, anxieties over possessions or status, begin to lose their grip. What matters most becomes clear: love shared, kindness given, moments experienced with full attention. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this truth, reminding himself, "Consider how much more precious the present is than the future." He urged himself to value the now, knowing that it would soon pass. This mindfulness of impermanence was not pessimism, but a source of deep joy, a joy born from embracing life's fragility. Appreciating impermanence also cultivates humility. We realize that no matter our achievements or possessions, we are but guests on this earth, here for a fleeting moment. This recognition dissolves pride and arrogance, replacing them with respect and reverence for life. Furthermore, impermanence teaches us acceptance. Change is inevitable, loss is certain, and resistance only prolongs suffering. By accepting this, we align ourselves with the natural order, flowing with life instead of fighting against it. This alignment is the core of Stoic tranquility. This awareness encourages us to live with open hands, holding people, experiences, and things lightly, without grasping or clinging. Love deeply, yes, but without fear of loss. Pursue goals passionately, but without attachment to outcomes. Such freedom brings peace. Yet this appreciation is not passive resignation. It is an active engagement with life's preciousness. It inspires us to be present, to savor, to fully participate in each moment. The fleeting nature of existence becomes a call to mindfulness and gratitude. Practicing this daily might involve simple rituals, pausing to notice the beauty of a flower before it wilts, expressing gratitude for a conversation, acknowledging the changing seasons within yourself. These moments train the mind to live awake and aware. In a world often obsessed with permanence and control, embracing impermanence is a radical act of courage and wisdom. It frees us to live fully, love freely, and let go gracefully. So, let today be a reminder to appreciate the impermanent, to see each breath as a gift, each relationship as a treasure, and each day as an opportunity to live with intention and grace. Because life's true richness lies not in what lasts forever, but in the depth with which we embrace its fleeting beauty. 7. Use time wisely. Time is the most precious commodity we possess, yet it is also the most easily wasted. The Stoics understood time as the very fabric of existence, a river that flows relentlessly forward, never pausing, never turning back. Marcus Aurelius reflected deeply on this, reminding himself that time is a violent current of events, each moment glimpsed briefly before it slips away forever. This awareness is not meant to instill fear, but to inspire reverence for every passing second. To use time wisely is to recognize that it is finite and irreplaceable. Unlike wealth or possessions, time cannot be stored, regained, or borrowed. Every moment lost is gone forever, and with it, the opportunity to live fully and authentically. The Stoics urged us to treat time as a sacred trust, a gift to be handled with care, respect, and intention. Living wisely in time means prioritizing what truly matters. It means distinguishing between the urgent and the important, the transient and the lasting. In our modern world, distractions abound. Screens flicker endlessly, notifications demand our attention, and the pull of trivial concerns can be overwhelming. The Stoics remind us to resist these distractions and focus on what enriches the soul and advances our purpose. Using time wisely is not about doing more, but about doing what matters. It is about cultivating habits that align with our values and shedding those that lead to waste and regret. It calls for self-discipline and mindfulness, regularly reflecting on how we spend our days and making conscious choices to steer our lives toward meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't squander time on what you cannot control or on what will not benefit your soul." This admonition encourages us to let go of futile worries and to embrace actions that foster growth, virtue, and connection. Time devoted to cultivating kindness, learning, creativity, and reflection becomes an investment in a rich and fulfilling life. Moreover, using time wisely means accepting that some moments must be dedicated to rest and renewal. The Stoics valued balance, understanding that a clear mind and a healthy body are essential for purposeful living. Rest is not idleness. It is preparation for effective action. The appreciation of time's fleeting nature deepens gratitude. Every sunrise, every breath, every encounter is a gift, unique and unrepeatable. This gratitude shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from anxiety to peace. To practice wise use of time, begin with small steps. Prioritize your daily tasks, set boundaries on distractions, and cultivate moments of stillness and presence. Reflect regularly on your progress and realign with your deepest intentions. Remember, how you use your time is how you live your life. Time is not just a measurement, but a canvas on which you paint your existence. Choose your strokes carefully. Fill your days with purpose, presence, and passion. Because in the end, the quality of your life is measured not by its length, but by how wisely you used the time you were given. 8. Regret nothing essential. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens we carry. It roots us in the past, shackling the mind to moments that can no longer be changed. The Stoics understood that regret, when it becomes an endless cycle of self-recrimination, is poison to the soul. Yet they also acknowledged that regret can serve a purpose, as a teacher guiding us toward wisdom and growth. The key is to regret only what truly deserves it, actions that betray our deepest values or moments when we knowingly chose wrong. The ancient Stoic philosophers encouraged us to distinguish between essential and non-essential regret. Essential regret arises when we act against our principles, compromise our integrity, or neglect our duties knowingly. This regret is a powerful call to realign ourselves with virtue and become better versions of ourselves. It fuels self-improvement and reminds us to live consciously. Non-essential regret, however, is the trap. It's regret over things beyond our control, the actions of others, unforeseen circumstances, or outcomes shaped by fate. It's regret rooted in fear, in what-ifs, and in the illusion that we could have done otherwise when, in reality, we acted with the best knowledge and intention we had at the time. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, frequently reflected on the futility of regret. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This awareness invites us to release the chains of regret and embrace the present with gratitude and acceptance. To regret nothing essential means to forgive yourself and others, to acknowledge the limits of your control, and to focus your energy on what you can change. It means learning from mistakes without becoming captive to them. It requires self-compassion, a recognition that growth is a journey paved with errors, lessons, and redemption. Practicing this mindset involves honest self-examination. When regret arises, pause and ask, did I act according to my values at that moment? Did I make the best choice possible given my knowledge and circumstances? What can this teach me? By reframing regret as a source of wisdom rather than punishment, you transform pain into progress. This approach liberates you from the toxic cycle of rumination that drains joy and clouds clarity. It opens space for peace and focus. You stop carrying the weight of mistakes that no longer serve you and start channeling your energy into living virtuously in the here and now. Moreover, by shedding non-essential regret, you cultivate resilience. You accept the impermanence of life and the unpredictability of events. You align yourself with nature's flow, responding with equanimity to whatever unfolds. This clarity strengthens your relationships as well. Holding on to regret often breeds bitterness and blame, poisoning connections with loved ones and strangers alike. But forgiveness, rooted in understanding and acceptance, heals and restores. So today, reflect on your regrets. Identify those that hold essential lessons and those that are merely burdens. Choose to release what does not serve your growth. Embrace the journey with kindness toward yourself and a commitment to live intentionally. In the end, the Stoic path is one of peace. Not because life is free from mistakes or loss, but because we learn to regret only what truly matters and to move forward unshackled by needless sorrow. 9. Face death to value life. To face death is not to surrender to fear, but to awaken to life's deepest truths. The Stoics taught that death is the ultimate teacher, one that strips away illusions, clarifies priorities, and calls us to live with courage and authenticity. Without confronting the reality of death, life can easily slip into complacency, distraction, and fear of the unknown. When you face death honestly, you begin to see life in its rawest, most precious form. The petty concerns, social anxieties, and trivial distractions lose their grip. You recognize that your time is limited, fragile, and invaluable. This awareness shifts your focus from the superficial to the essential, from chasing empty desires to cultivating virtues that endure beyond the body's lifespan. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, often reminded himself of death's inevitability as a way to inspire purposeful living. He wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." This powerful reflection is a call to embrace every moment with intention, knowing that none are guaranteed. Facing death cultivates courage. It frees you from the chains of fear that often paralyze action. When you accept mortality, you become willing to take risks, to speak your truth, and to pursue what matters most without hesitation. You learn that the greatest loss is not death itself, but a life unlived. Moreover, this acceptance transforms suffering. Pain and hardship are not curses, but opportunities, lessons that prepare us for the ultimate transition and strengthen our character. The Stoics embraced adversity as a natural part of life that tests and refines our virtues. Gratitude blossoms in the shadow of mortality. Every breath, every moment, every encounter becomes a gift. When you live with death in mind, you appreciate the richness of existence more deeply. Relationships become more meaningful, experiences more vivid, and joys more profound. Practicing this awareness requires regular reflection. Set aside time to meditate on mortality, not to induce anxiety, but to foster presence and clarity. Let death's reality guide your choices, priorities, and actions. Remember, death is not an enemy, but a profound motivator. By facing it courageously, you unlock the fullness of life and embrace the freedom to live authentically, fully, and without regret. 10. Death is the Stoic motivator. Death is the shadow that follows us from the moment we are born, a silent companion reminding us that our time is limited, precious, and ultimately finite. The Stoics didn't see this as a cause for despair, but as the most profound motivator life offers. To remember death constantly, Memento Mori, is to hold a mirror up to our existence and see what truly matters reflected back. When death is fully acknowledged, not as a distant event, but as a present reality, it transforms how we approach life. The trivial distractions, the petty conflicts, the endless chase for superficial pleasures, all these lose their grip on us. What remains is clarity. What virtues will I cultivate? What legacy will I leave? How will I spend the moments I have left? Marcus Aurelius, who faced death daily amidst wars and political turmoil, wrote that, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This was not a morbid reflection, but a call to urgent, intentional living. Death motivated him to focus not on trivialities, but on wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. This mindset frees us from the paralyzing fear of failure, rejection, or loss. When you internalize death's inevitability, you realize that many fears are illusions, distractions from the true task of living authentically and fully. You become willing to take risks, to speak truth, to love boldly, knowing that time is short. Moreover, death sharpens our appreciation of life's beauty. Every breath, every smile, every act of kindness becomes more profound. The Stoics taught that gratitude arises naturally when we remember the impermanence of all things. Death is the lens that magnifies the preciousness of existence. Facing death also transforms suffering. Pain and hardship, though difficult, are not meaningless. They are opportunities to practice virtue, to build resilience, and to prepare for our final transition. The Stoics embraced suffering as an essential part of the human experience that shapes character and spirit. To live motivated by death means embracing both urgency and acceptance. It calls for a balance, acting with passion and purpose, yet with calm and wisdom. It means engaging fully with life's challenges without attachment to outcomes. Practicing this motivation requires daily reflection. It's not a one-time epiphany, but a continuous reminder that life is fleeting and precious. By keeping death in mind, we guide our choices toward what is meaningful and away from distractions that dilute our time. This awareness leads to a life of integrity and peace. You act in alignment with your values because you recognize that your time is too short to live otherwise. You forgive more easily, love more deeply, and pursue your purpose with clarity. Ultimately, death is the greatest teacher and motivator. It dissolves illusions, reveals truth, and fuels the courage to live boldly. By embracing death, we are not diminished, but empowered, gifted with the clarity to live the fullest life possible. Life's greatest certainty, death, is also its greatest gift. The awareness of our mortality cuts through distraction, fear, and hesitation, inviting us to live with urgency, intention, and courage. The Stoics teach us that remembering death is not a burden, but a liberation, a call to embrace each moment fully and authentically. Every breath you take is precious because it will not come again. Every choice you make shapes not only your days, but the legacy you leave behind. To live without this awareness is to drift through life, postponing joy, postponing purpose, postponing meaning. But when you remember that your time is limited, everything changes. Trivial worries fall away. True values rise to the surface. You begin to act from wisdom, not impulse, from presence, not distraction, from strength, not fear. So carry this truth with you. Life is fleeting, but it is yours to shape. Face your mortality, not with dread, but with determination. Let it be the fire that fuels your passion, the compass that guides your path, and the anchor that grounds your soul. Live boldly, love deeply, act with intention, and in doing so, transform the inevitability of death into the power of life.